Hello and welcome back to the Bliss Bean. I have now had this little guy for about a month. I was pretty hesitant to purchase it because I saw a lot of people saying like, what can you do with an Apple Watch that you can't already do with an iPhone? But after getting it, I realized the question is, what distractions of the iPhone are missing from the Apple Watch? I use my watch basically as a simplified phone to the point where I now constantly have to use the pinging feature to find my actual phone because I lose it around my house all the time because I just don't use it much anymore. So I got the gold 40mm Apple Watch SE GPS with a pink sports band. I'm really glad I didn't get the bigger screen size. I went and I tried on both of them at the store, and the bigger one felt like having a phone on my wrist, whereas this one feels like an actual watch. I also didn't get the cellular connectivity because you have to pay like $10 a month for that, and the only scenario I could think of where I would really find that useful is if I went on a run and didn't want to bring my phone. But considering I go on maybe maximum 4 runs per month if there's good weather, I just didn't find it to be worth it. The battery life is okay for me. I feel like it could be better. I wear it while I sleep, so I have to find time during the day to charge it. Usually I charge it during breakfast, so for example, this morning I was able to charge it for 30 minutes and get 40% out of that. Sometimes it's enough to get me through the day, but usually not, so I'll also take it off while I'm working or doing some sort of other sitting activity because I do not want to miss any opportunity to fill up my activity rings. Which conveniently brings us to the first thing that I really like about the Apple Watch, which is that it has definitely motivated me to stay more active. Because it's always tracking and every little bit of exercise counts, it has made me view movement as something that can happen throughout the day rather than just in one formal workout session. I like the reminders to stand up and move throughout the day. I like seeing my heart rate because it gives me like a quantitative measure of how hard I'm working, which makes me want to do better. And I just feel very, very accomplished when I get that sparkly notification that says I filled up my rings. Another thing I love that is also in the vein of health features is being able to track my sleep. It's been interesting to be able to see a graph of my sleep cycles to better understand when I should be waking up to feel less drowsy. It motivates me to go to bed earlier because I don't want to rack up a sleep debt, and it also just makes me think more about the quality of my sleep rather than just the quantity. Although sometimes the activity tracking gets in the way of the sleep quality, because one time I was like 4% away from reaching my move goal, but I was about to go to bed. So I was literally in my room just jumping around and doing jumping jacks and punching the air, and I got to my goal, but then I tried to go to sleep and I couldn't fall asleep, and when I finally did, I woke up like 5 times throughout that night. So I would not recommend doing that. And finally, and most importantly, I really like the Apple Watch because it has largely replaced my phone. So I use a variety of different apps throughout the day, like a time tracking app, a habit tracking app, a to-do list app. I like setting timers, playing music on my speaker. And none of these are distracting apps in themselves, but they force me to pick up my phone, and my phone has plenty of other distractions on it, like Instagram or Safari. Even if I manage to not give in to the temptation, I feel the temptation, and fighting it is tiring. With my watch, I have on my wrist the most basic versions of all of these necessary apps. I could mark a habit as done, check my to-do list, switch activities on my time tracker, ask Siri to start a timer. Instagram and Safari simply do not exist on here, and using such a tiny screen is an unpleasant enough experience that I do only what I need to do. I'm in and then I'm out. So without my phone, say I'm sitting in the living room and I feel the urge to scroll, but my phone is upstairs and there is literally nothing entertaining on my watch. I can memorize the weather forecast, I can see what time it is in London, but that is pretty much the extent of the fun that I can have on this thing. However, getting your watch to this point where it is not a distraction takes some time, but don't worry, I'm here to help you. I spent hours and hours with my watch when I first got it because there was just so much to learn. But once I got over the hump of that initial learning curve, I was all set to go. So here are 5 things to consider when you are setting up your Apple Watch. I didn't even realize before I got the watch that you could have multiple watch faces and that they were so customizable. So watch faces are basically like the pages of your home screen on your phone, and complications are like little widgets, shortcuts, or bits of information that you can have on them. You should definitely take some time to learn what complications are available for your apps and think about how to best arrange them. You can try having watch faces for different contexts, for example. So I have a main one that's like my default watch face that shows me the date and the weather, and then the next one over is like a work watch face where I have my to-do list and time tracking. So I think the biggest danger of having a device on your wrist is that if you don't manage your notifications, it can distract you even more powerfully than your phone and be constantly buzzing your wrist all day long. I think there's a sweet spot for notifications. If there's too many, you'll constantly be distracted, but if there's not enough, then you'll have to manually check for important information that you're waiting on, which is also distracting. So for example, a lot of my text messages are muted except the ones for my family in case there's an emergency or if I'm waiting on some time-sensitive information from someone. For emails, I only get notifications from VIP contacts and I designate VIPs again when I'm waiting for time-sensitive information from someone, and then once I get that, their VIP status is revoked. I also really like using both the theater mode and the do not disturb modes. So theater mode keeps the screen dark and disables raise to wake, and then do not disturb silences all of your notifications. Both are lovely and fantastic to use. By default, your watch will mirror the settings of your iPhone, and if you're on your phone, you'll get the notification on your phone. If not, you'll get it on your watch, but not in both places. When I first got my watch, I discovered the world of shortcuts and got lost in the depths of the r/shortcuts subreddit. So this little app allows you to program little shortcuts and automations for your devices. So anytime you notice any friction in how you use your phone or your Apple Watch, like maybe you put on the same morning playlist every time your alarm rings and you start thinking, gosh, I go through the same exact motions every morning, there has got to be a way I could automate this. Or you always search for directions home at the same exact time every single weekday. You can likely design a shortcut for that or find someone online who has programmed one. So for example, I have a very simple shortcut under the name Log Water that adds 1 bottle of water to my habit count as well as 500 milliliters of water to my health app. So instead of going to those apps separately, all I have to do is press the crown and say Log Water. I think one key aspect of any good productivity system is you need a way to keep track of everything that pops into your head. Because the more you're trying to juggle in your brain, the less room you'll have for more important things and the more stressed out you will be. You need a method that is as simple and as quick as possible for tracking to-dos, ideas, stuff that you need to tell people, anything. For me, carrying around a notebook and a pen for this was just not really feasible, and I also hated going to my phone for this because I was trying to use my phone less. So on my Apple Watch, I have a complication for the Things 3 app that takes me straight to adding something to my inbox, and then I process everything at the end of the day and I either decide, nope, that was actually a stupid idea, or yes, I actually need to add that as a to-do or file away that bit of information somewhere. Finally, you should definitely make use of the mindfulness features on your Apple Watch. There's something kind of incongruent about your phone reminding you to take a mindfulness break, because for you to see that notification, you have to be near your phone, and most of us are trying to detach ourselves from our devices. With the Apple Watch, it feels a lot more personal. So one of my favorite apps is the I Am Affirmations app. I get 15 affirmations delivered straight to my wrist every day, so I don't have to pick up my phone when I hear a notification. I just get one of those little taps on my wrist, lift it, read it, get inspired, soak it in, and move on with my day. All right, so now I'm gonna give you a tour of my watch faces. So as I said, the first one is my main watch face. This is where I can see what time it is, what day it is. I can tap on the weather to get a more detailed weather forecast. And then at the bottom, I have 3 apps. This one in the middle is my habit tracker. The one on the right is this app called, I think, Juice Watch or Juice Battery or something. This is just a handy way to see how much battery I have both on my watch and on my phone. And then this first one is for the Revere app, which I told you about in my phone tour. This is like for keeping track of personal contacts, so like friends' birthdays or gift ideas or stuff like that. The second watch face is my work mode. So I have a big clock, and then in the top left is a timer. I can see how much time is left on the timer or click on it to start a new timer. Below that is my Things 3 inbox that I already mentioned, and then at the bottom is my time tracking app. My third watch face is like my health one, so I have my activity rings in the middle. At the bottom is a shortcut for my sleep tracking app, and I think what this tells me is how many hours I slept last night and then the quality of the sleep. Although I'm not sure why it is 100%, I don't think I slept that well. Up in the top left is the heart rate app, and then on the top right is my shortcut for logging water. And then my last watch face is the one I'm most proud of. So you can create a watch face that is a gallery of photos. So I have an album just for photos of BTS, and then I can cycle through that and get a little bit of joy in my day. I actually use the remote camera feature quite a lot. It is very helpful for taking those self-absorbed blogger photos, but other than that, I rarely go to this app screen. I mainly just stay on my watch faces. So in Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport, he talks about how we often only think about the benefits of some shiny new toy that we want to get and not the costs that are associated with it. So if you're thinking about getting an Apple Watch, don't just think about the cool features that you'll get, like the walkie-talkie or the automatic hand washing timer, which in my opinion barely ever works. What will you have to sacrifice in order to bring this into your life? Money? Time, attention. For me, in my situation, the Apple Watch was a way to simplify my life and use my phone less, but you have to decide how it'll affect your life. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you have an Apple Watch and you want to share with me how you set up your watch faces and your complications, send me something to my email or to Instagram, and I want to do like a little showcase of how people have set up their watches on my stories. Other than that, I hope you found the video helpful. Please give it a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next week. Bye!